Hey guys, welcome and thank you for joining me today for I Am Ageless Now, HIIT Essential Workout. In other words, high intensity interval training for the active aging. Well, here's the thing. If you think about it, you know, for those of us that are in our 60s, taking a class from, for example, somebody that's 30 that has yet to experience a knee replacement, hip replacement, and or any kind of orthopedic issue may have a harder time training the active aging client. So if you are new in this industry, one of the most important things that we have to know is the active aging client definitely moves differently, but still with necessity than our younger counterparts. Now, I've been in this industry over 35 years, and I come from the world of doing high intensity training. We called it aerobic training. And for years, we just pounded our bodies, really not thinking about the consequences of what was going to happen when we age. Because let's be honest here, when you're in your 20s and 30s, 60 something is older than dirt, right? So for me, I really wasn't listening to the warning signs like chondromalacia, where basically you've got sandpaper under your kneecap wearing down what little cartilage you might have left. So I can't stress enough that HIIT training is a necessity for any age, but at to what level and how it is done. I myself personally, I do HIIT training probably 3 times a week, what I'm going to show you in this workout, but I also on my bike and do it. I can't run anymore because I've had a knee replacement, but at the end of the day, it's still a very vital point, a very vital part of fitness conditioning. And, you know, sweating feels good, and you go through a chemical change during a high intensity workout. And I'll get into that more later. But again, it's all in the way that we do it, how we cue, coach, and connect with our students, especially virtually. And I've been training, like I said, been in the group fitness and personal training world for a very long time. And going through the Gray Institute really allowed me to understand that where you reach and what your destination of a reach, whether it's your hands or whether your destination is lunging out with your feet, and where you reach in opposition or in the same direction, has an immediate effect on the body as what Gary called a chain reaction, which for all intents and purposes really has a big effect on if we are training a client, for example, that has had a knee replacement. How do we get that person into a pain-free lunge? How do we get that individual to get back into high intensity training? Now, if you took my other session on restoration, as I mentioned in that session, it is a great complement to this session and vice versa, because you can't really do one without the other, if that makes sense. So if you're doing just this workout and you don't do restoration, you're going to wind up not recovering very fast. And or if you're only doing restoration and not high intensity, then the side effect of that is the lack of bone density, creating more testosterone, and especially in aging female's body, and slowing down the aging process. But again, it's all in the way that we do it. And I see well over 100 people a week. And with that being said, I have all ages, all sizes, all different abilities. But at the end of the day, what I personally feel with any kind of high intensity training is the way that we cue, because everyone's heart rates are going to be very different. And it really gets down to, I've got very fit clients. Matter of fact, one that comes to mind that has an extremely stressful job. And I know when I see him on Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., what kind of night he's had. And it's very different from Tuesday to Friday. Friday, he is in decompression mode, where he just, if I pushed him, I wouldn't get anything out of him. And on the other days, it's definitely a difference in the fact that I like to read them and know where I can take my clients, not based on something I've read or not based on, protocols or arduous numbers that are out there. But at the end of the day, it truly gets down to, having a feeling of what your client needs in that particular day so that they leave feeling extremely, extremely successful. I want to thank the Functional Aging Institute. I want to thank Dan and everyone who's put this conference together, and everyone that's participating in it. We are certainly hoping that in 2022 that we are going to be live. I'm sure we are all tired of hearing that. It's like, when are we going to get back? But again, I think, and I want you to sit back and really reflect on how has COVID changed you as a fitness professional? How has it allowed you to communicate with your clients? How has it allowed you to help them differently? Because I'm going to start this off, and I want you to think about, people are coming back now, gyms are opening up, right? Thankfully. But we don't want to have our clients come in and say, all right, I'm going to weigh you and measure you. Are you kidding me? I know I ate my way through COVID. I know I've gained weight. I know I don't feel the way that I felt before COVID. So we want to start with easing people back into things, first of all, and giving them the emotional support that they absolutely need to find success, right? I think we're on that page. But I know that there's lots of things out there in social media, of beating the crap out of yourself from uneducated, what do I want to say, uneducated influencers that are saying, yeah, for flat abs, do 6,000 crunches. And I'm like, yeah, for the active aging, that's pretty much going to herniate a disc and then you're done. So we have to, at the end of the day, and I mention this in all my sessions, is know why you're doing what you're doing. If you understand what a movement is supposed to do and the benefits out of that movement, then you're going to convey it better. No different than if you were preparing a wonderful dinner for family and friends. You're constantly tasting to make sure that what it is that you're going to prepare is going to be enjoyable by all, instead of just going, oh, I think I'll just go for it and we'll see what happens in the end. A good chef never does that. So I think we are very good at teaching how to do exercises. We don't teach the why. So in this program today, I want you to walk away going, I know why I'm lunging in this direction for this amount of time. I know why I'm doing this for X amount of time. Make sense? So let's get started, guys. I do have a PowerPoint that I will start with. And then I am going to get you guys up and move you. So let's see here. All right. So once again, welcome to my program today. As the recipient of 2020 IDEA Personal Trainer of the Year, I'm honored that I was awarded this really amazing honor due to the fact that I have been in this in a very long time. And I think maybe because of the fact that I do have incredible empathy towards my clients now, due to the fact that I have had a total knee replacement. And I think it helps you to become a better trainer, because you realize the things that you probably shouldn't have done. And hopefully you can convey that message to them, and you can show them a different path of how to have a healthy body. And to me, a healthy body is to be able to do what I love to do at this age in my 60s. And it's not about how I look in a bikini, but it's about health. And I think that we can honestly say, since COVID, I think we've seen a shift. I think that shift that I've seen is incredible in the fact that we are looking more at health and wellness than we're looking at aesthetics. And I think the aesthetic part of our business definitely, is kind of a side bonus, if you will, losing weight and all these things. But at the end of the day, when you feel good, you definitely look better. So I'm sharing this with you, okay? Because this is me all happy because I'm drugged up and I have no idea what's going on. So to share with you, This was probably the hardest thing I've gone through my life. As you can see, the picture there of a total knee replacement. I actually forced myself not to watch the surgery prior to going in. I watched it after, and the reason for that is I'm pretty sure I would have talked myself right out of it. It is one of the hardest things. It's very, very invasive, and at the end of the day, I'm still recovering. But my recovery included meditation. My recovery included anti-inflammatory nutrition and on, and a will to say I'm going to get through this. But 3 weeks after, I really questioned why I did this. And I am one of those people that chose not to take oxycodone due to the fact that I did not want to become dependent and it didn't make me feel good. But I'm one of the lucky ones because a lot of people are getting, you know, caught up in the whole, drug addiction issue that we have in this country, and even more so now with COVID. So if I can't stress enough, is fitness training is essential for life. It's how we go about it, how we convey it, and what our message is for our clients. And that is me about 5 months after I had my total knee replacement on my ski, which, if I didn't have, the support system that I had and what I did, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that. So it's based on science. And when we look at gravity, gravity is constantly pushing down on us and we're fighting against it, but in a good way. So for example, sit up nice and tall and your feet are grounded into the earth. And what I want you to do is stand straight up for me, but don't flex your ankles, don't flex your knees, and don't flex your hips and go straight up. You physically cannot do it. If you were to create movement as it relates to your human anatomy and what we are comprised of, if we are to use gravity to our advantage, we would intuitively do what? Hinge forward. So the minute you hinge forward and you lift to stand up, you've lengthened and you've basically switched on your proprioceptors in your muscles and in your fascia, and you've created this thing called movement. And that's a subconscious thing because none of us sit in a chair and go, gee, I hope I flex everything so I can stand up, right? But I want you to think about an injury. When you have an injury, you do think about how you're going to get up. Because when you get up, and I am a walking example of it, in the beginning, I kept thinking, I know I got to stand up, but how can I shift to avoid pain? Now, again, that's our clients in classes. If we're pushing them hard without a purpose, go with me here, they're intuitively going to find a way to do a movement that they get out of pain. And it's our responsibility to say, all right, let me offer a different position that you can be in while you are doing this workout so you have accomplishment. Now that affects my behavior. Now I feel like a rock star because I've done something that feels good in my body. And over and above that is I'm out of pain. And again, this is the Functional Aging Institute. And when we look at it that way, rather than go, 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 it makes me crazy when I hear trainers screaming, go, 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 without any kind of technical cueing, then that person is going to go, go, go right into an injury. Okay, let's talk about the benefits of HIIT training or, intensity training that is for your client's ability. So, it's fascinating. The complexity of our human body. It can protect cells from aging. The Mayo Clinic researchers studied the effects of HIIT on people that discovered they may, start to change the cellular structure and help to benefit some of these cells in the aging process. Now, that can be from cognitive related abilities to balance, all of the above. Now, deterioration of muscle cells has actually been reversed. We've all heard this. When you exercise, you start to reverse the aging process. Pretty cool. I mean, there's a gal out there that bodybuilds that's like, I don't know, in her 70s or 80s, and she's still winning. So with that being said, it seems to change a cell's DNA in a way that boosted the muscle's ability to produce energy. Now, our muscles produce force, but yet our fascia also transmits this thing called energy and elasticity. So motion is lotion. You know how you feel, like if you've slept all night, you haven't moved, and you actually kind of get up and you sort of feel stiff. Well, this is a lot of our active aging counterparts. They sit a lot. All right. So with that being said, what starts happening to the gluteal tissue? It becomes weak. It becomes less resilient. And now let's go in and do 6,000 squats in a really bad position. There's a really good chance I'm going to shear, tear, or do something to my hamstring. So I don't want to do squats anymore. So the good news is with women is it can also, depending on where you are, whether it's perimenopause or let's just say menopause, when you start to produce less hormones. And for the woman like myself who went through menopause, again, when you're not producing hormones, it's a dramatic effect on the density of your bones. So with that being said, for me, it's essential to do strength training. It's essential for me to do HIIT training so that I keep the density of my bones. Now, the other thing is with me as well, for women that are built like me, I'm an ectomorph. And ectomorphs have a tendency to be more prone towards osteoporosis, is to where a meso or endo is going to be more prone towards heart disease. So when we look at the importance of HIIT training, especially since it can be done in only 20 minutes. I love that because I'm not one of these people that I can like go get on an indoor bike for an hour. I'm just not one of those people. If I know that in 20 minutes, I am going to get what I need out of that, then I'm going to do it. So, and again, after you've worked out, think about it. You have better cognitive skills. You think better, more research. So cardiorespiratory health, muscle mass, and insulin improved with all training. The mitochondrial cellular function declines with age, and with HIIT training or cardiorespiratory training, we start to increase our mitochondria. We know this, all right? I kind of said this, is we increase muscular strength. Now, I'm one of these water skiers that goes out and I ski a course, and I'm literally from point A to point B is somewhere in the neighborhood, depending on how fast you're going, is somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 seconds. That's it. That's HIIT training. I mean, it's in a way because it's not necessarily cardiorespiratory, but it's HIIT in a different way that I have to be on my game for those 15 seconds. And then I rest at the end. And I get up and I do it again. So, but if you think of water skiing, for example, if you're not going out and you're not going hard, let's say, and you're not skiing a course and you're just standing behind the boat, you could go for 30 minutes because you're just holding on and enjoying the ride, as to where a sport like this, like sprinting, if you will, definitely it's an anaerobic activity. But yeah, if you don't do HIIT training and aerobic training, then this type of sport is going to be too taxing and too demanding on the active aging. Now, that's not true for the younger generation, but for my age group, it's essential. And that's a sport that I love to do, is I love being on a ski going fast. So with that being said, if I don't train, then I lose my muscle mass. So, and people ask me, if I lift weights, and I don't, and I get these arms from skiing. So increase in muscle strength occurred only modestly with high intensity interval training, but occurred with resistance training. So we want to add in today resistance with HIIT training. So you're gonna see the way that I've structured this program, because again, I teach this to my clients all the time. Exercise improves skeletal gene expression independent of age. Exercise substantially enhanced the ribosomal proteins responsible for synthesizing new proteins, which is mainly responsible for enhanced mitochondria function. Training has no significant effect on skeletal muscles, DNA, epigenetic changes, but promotes skeletal muscle protein expression with maximum effort for older adults. So keeping in mind, there is going to be, it's not as though we are going to create mass, but we will create more density, if that makes sense. Okay, so these are some of the risks, okay? And if indeed we're doing a class, like if a client goes into, you know, one of these HIIT classes and the trainer is not, you know, educated in working with the active aging, then this could be an issue. Because if the active aging, I'm going to go back to my client that I see twice a week. He goes and sees this young trainer besides me because he likes to go and have the crap beaten out of him. So again, Friday, he is not only mentally exhausted by training or by working and having the stress of the work week, but on Thursdays, if he goes, and I know if he goes and if he doesn't go, this trainer beats the crap out of him. And he's so exhausted, he's mentally and physically exhausted, that Friday needs to be a restoration program for this guy. And at the end of the day, he's starting to really slow down, which concerns me as his restorative trainer, due to the fact that at 63 years old, you know, pushing 300-pound tires when you're only 5'8" and about 160 pounds is probably not that smart. So at the end of the day, if you're mentally fatigued, you're emotionally fatigued, and you're running on adrenaline and caffeine, an injury is going to happen. And here's the bad news: we don't recover as fast, guys. You know, a healthy 30-year-old is going to recover much quicker than a 60-year-old. So please keep in mind that, you know, we have to look at how well do our clients actually move. Okay. All right. So basically, with our high intensity training, we want to keep an eye on our heart rate. But at the end of the day, for me, heart rate training is vital, but it is one of those things that's very subjective to how much sleep, how much caffeine have you had, and what is your fitness level. What we're looking for is how well do you recover? In other words, if you've just done 30 seconds of high intensity squats, and by the way, this program does not have any impact in it, but you will definitely feel the work. And if you're still huffing and puffing afterwards, then maybe what we do is reduce your range of motion. Find a place that you can be, that you're not completely exhausted, if that makes sense. So your heart rate should also drop during low intensity intervals. So if your heart rate is 140 or 150 during a high intensity interval, you want it down about 20 beats per minute during the low intensity, and come down to closer to 100 within a minute from stopping the exercise. I just ask my clients, how are they feeling? There's lots of different club scenarios where people, you know, are monitored by heart rate monitors as to where they are compared with everyone else. But I also know of a lot of people that have gotten injured in that modality of training because of the competitiveness. So again, you have to kind of look at that. So why work in the planes of motion and understand what we're doing in the planes of motion? Well, because the sagittal plane is dramatically different than the transverse plane. Sagittal plane is affected by gravity, all right? The minute you hinge forward, you lengthen the back. And the minute you move posterior, you lengthen the anterior against gravity. So again, if I'm doing a ton of lunges where I'm reaching forward, like with a medicine ball, only in the sagittal plane, I can tell you right now, my knee is going to start screaming. But you as a trainer, if you're noticing that if I'm lunging and my knee is not in great alignment, then guess what? Add in a reach matrix where you have me reach in a direction that is going to offset my knee. Guess what's going to happen to my fitness level? It's going to go up. It's going to go up. A great example is I went into one of these well-known interval training fitness places. This was before my knee replacement. And I was put on the treadmill, and I had backed off from running a lot. And anyway, to make a long story short, I ran, but I couldn't, my threshold was not my heart rate. My threshold was my knee pain. And after the class was all said and done, the trainer said to me, he goes, "You never got your heart rate up." And I said, "You never asked me if I needed a knee replacement." Now, had that trainer put me on a bike or like a rowing machine or something, or an elliptical machine, I would have kicked some serious butt, because I figure I can do that, right? And not only physically would I have been, where I needed to be, but emotionally. Instead, all I kept thinking to myself was, holy crap, my knee is on fire, and I have to bring it down to a walk. And so with that being said, we as trainers, we've got, and I really throw this out there for the active aging, because we are a huge clientele in the fitness world right now. So our frontal plane is right lateral and left lateral side of the body. So if this is affected by gravity, do you think that I'm going to work harder in this plane of motion than if I'm just rotating from side to side? I'm not going to get my heart rate very, very high. I'm not going to really increase my breath. I'm not going to feel a big difference by just rotating. But let's throw in a posterior lunge with a reach in the sagittal and frontal plane. Now we're talking. Now my heart rate's going to go up a lot, and I'm working in a much safer modality because I'm bringing in all the other planes of motion. So this is Thomas Myers' diagrams here, which is, again, when we look at the spiral line, the arm line, the superficial front line, superficial back line, and the lateral line, for all intents and purposes, this fascia, if we really want to create explosive movement, then we need to move with the integrity that lets our fascia be what it needs to be. And that would be like the recoiling of a rubber band or like a slingshot. But again, if I'm doing movement that is to the point of pain, then I'm going to have an issue. So keeping in mind, all right, we want to create a conscious movement for a subconscious result. Because at the end of the day, when we look at the ranges of motion here, guys, your joints feel, your bones move, and your tissue reacts against gravity. So let's just say I'm just doing a mid squat right there, and that's my squat, and it feels good to me, and that's where I'm going to do my squat. How could you intensify picture number 2? If that's as far as I can go and I can't get into a deeper squat, what would you add? Well, first of all, maybe upon the extension of my knees, you'd have me reach over my head. Then maybe you would say, grab some, 2-pound weights. What's going to happen to the intensity there? It's going to go up. But we have a tendency to go, come on, go deeper, get down into that squat. And with knees being on fire, then my success rate dramatically goes down. So the equipment that we can, certainly play with is that of using our gliding disc, a ball, bands. Small equipment like this really helps to enhance our training today. Why? Because it's non-impact, but we're still going to raise the heart rate up. Think about indoor cycling. It's non-impact, but yet you can completely go breathless, right? All right, let's talk about some injuries before we get into our training. So for example, let's just say I'm adding in some boxing here into my interval training. If you think about it, boxers are, incredibly strong, but what do they bring? What plane of motion do they bring in? They bring in the transverse plane. But if I'm just doing this motion repetitively over and over and over again, and I have tight hips, I'm going to create arthritis in my shoulder, or I'm going to create a shoulder injury. So again, if I've got a client that has, for example, a torn labrum, or they have a rotator cuff injury, or whatever the case may be, then maybe my range of motion is here, and I'm not reaching out as far. Go with me here, but I'm bringing in the hips. So in other words, I'm not just sitting there going, yeah, let's pretend we're air boxing, right? And God, I remember back in the day when this whole boxing craze came along, and oh my God, everybody and their mother was having shoulder injuries or shoulder pain, because at the end of the day, we jumped on the bandwagon that boxing was so amazing, but yet on the flip side, many of our boxing classes were, well, many, very few were taught by professional boxers. They were taught by aerobic instructors that did not know anything about the integrity of the shoulder. And we wonder why at 60 something that so many fitness professionals have had to have shoulder replacements and shoulder surgeries. Gee, I wonder why. So again, there can be other issues, tennis, other racket sports, heavy lifting, improper weight training, pulling a bar behind our head, all these things that we've done in the past that we've got to stop doing now, unless of course we want to have a surgery, which I don't think so. Sitting for long periods over a computer. So you're over a computer, you're like this for, let's say, 8 hours, and then you go into a class, and the trainer goes, yeah, let's do some boxing, and yet you haven't done anything to lubricate your hips. You're going to take a hit in the shoulders. Okay, so the arthritic hip. Again, let's go into too deep of squats, wide squats, and then don't even get me started on this whole bar craze, being up on your toes, tucking the pelvis under. So again, we look at some of these training modalities that so many people are starting to have the side effects of poor training techniques, or you're just predisposed to having osteoarthritis. But on the flip side, like for me, had I quit running, had I quit doing the high intensity crap I was doing way back when, I would have saved my knees. But I didn't listen to the warning signs when I was younger. So we have to look at, again, let's look at our range of motion, how much lateral rotation we should be doing with somebody who does have hip issues. And again, with total hip replacements, big, huge movements are most likely for that individual not advised. So the arthritic knee, that's pretty obvious. That's what mine looked like. Now, how are we training? Big question. So again, depending on where the cartilage is worn and torn down, whether it's lateral or medial, it's going to have a huge effect on the way you squat. It's going to have a very big effect, and we'll talk about that when we get up. Can we avoid or slow down the process? Yes, we can, because chronic pain is going to lead to an acute injury. And at some point in time, again, if our clients are saying, this is hurting my knees, and we don't attend to that, then rather than being part of the solution, we're part of the cause of the issues. And that just, honestly, guys, it gets down to how we look at them. Because let's be honest here. Your foot, okay, in the sagittal and frontal plane is a stable mechanism, if you will, okay? But so is the knee. Now, if we look at the ankle, all right, your subtalar joint, as your subtalar joint sits up on the calcaneus, for example, if the foot should evert or invert, right, and we don't have good mobility and strength in our ankles, let's say from wearing high heel shoes, or for example, let's go into bar classes and be up on our toes for 10 minutes at a time. We're really changing the dynamic and the integrity of what the foot was meant to do to absorb different types of surfaces, and then also how the ankle reacts as we go up the kinetic chain. Same thing as the knee. So the knee is not, it moves a very small degree in the frontal plane. And with that being said, if I am gunked up in my hip and I don't have good hip mobility, then there's a really good chance I'm not going to have very good knee stability. Same thing with the lumbar spine. And I'm going to get you up and we're going to do some things so that you can really feel when we put our clients in a precarious position, like squeezing the glutes and not moving our hips, is going to have a dramatic effect on the low back, and it stops the integrity of our thoracic spine to doing what it is supposed to do. So our scapula, all right, in the frontal plane, basically, should be stable as it sits on our posterior ribs. But yet the glenohumeral joint, being our shoulder, is meant to move in all three planes of motion. But here's the thing. If my hips are locked down because I'm putting my students in a precarious position, then I'm going to have an issue in my shoulder. And again, this can go into all these classes where they instigate, let's be in a tucked position. I can't even begin to tell you how many people, again, are saying, I'm having back problems, I'm having knee and shoulder problems. We have to let your body move the best of its ability and as authentically as possible. Okay, so basically at the end of the day, we want to be able to add in some kind of movement of the feet, articulation of our feet. We want to add in some planking, whether it be on the ground or on a wall or utilizing a chair. We want to do some core training as well, both sitting and or standing, okay? We also want to add in, if you have time, maybe add in some bridging to work on extension of your hips. This is not an exercise where we squeeze the glutes. Balance training is crucial. Extension to actually activate the glutes is really important. So all these movements we are going to bring in and combine with our program. Now, as you can see, utilizing here the bender ball is not only am I using it like as a tool to reach forward with, but I'm also placing it in between my ribs and my thigh so that I'm in good alignment, okay? Because again, a lot of times our clients don't know what alignment we want them to be in, so they can't execute the exercise correctly. Using a ball behind the low back rather than having them lay on the floor and keep flexing their neck forward so that they wind up with neck pain. Balance exercises, placing the ball under the foot. These are just examples of how you can add in some of these movements that increase stability, mobility, and flexibility and strength. All right, this is huge, guys. I can't stress this enough, especially with where we are today in the world of virtual training. A lot of our students are very cognitive. They just don't have body awareness. And we have to be so accurate in our cueing of where they should feel it and the alignment. And even in HIIT training, if we see that person that is really struggling with the movement, you need to say, hey, Nancy, I want you to think about doing X, Y, and Z. All right, let's get you in the right position. Now let's go for it, okay? Because at the end of the day, if Nancy's not in a good position, then she's gonna continue to have issues. The associative person has better body awareness. And then the autonomous individual is going to be able to pick things up right away. Now, what kind of learner are they? Are they more visual? Are they more kinesthetic? Are they auditory? And this is the thing, I want you to think about something. We've gone into this whole virtual world of training. So what have they created? A mirror. But I don't really know if that person on the other side understands my body. I haven't done it yet. So I can't say yay or nay to it because of the fact that for me, because I've had a knee replacement, if I'm going to train with somebody, I need that person to know exactly what I need to do to be successful because of my limitations, not based on, something they've seen on YouTube. So designing our program. Okay, it can be done twice a week, combined with other activities. Again, this is like a 25-minute workout. This is, a timed workout that combines bouts of strength and interval are dependent on the individual clients, okay? Providing support. In other words, you'll see behind me, I have a chair. I'm going to show you how to use a chair for balance if needed. so that you can concentrate on the movement, not whether or not they're gonna, flip over. We definitely want to add in our 3 planes of motion in our warm-up. Balance or strength can be used as recovery. This is kind of cool. So we can do a balance movement. And again, let's say you're using, a dome-shaped product like the Bosu. I love the Bosu, but if my heart rate's up, and I'm, and I've dramatically changed my nervous system, my breathing is heavy. Now you're going to say, now stand on the Bosu and balance on one foot, especially with my knee replacement, the fact that neurologically things are different, I'm going to fly right off of the Bosu. So again, if we're going to do balance as a recovery, what kind of environment are they on? Okay. Because at the end of the day, we have all these different positions for our workout. We have standing, we have kneeling, we have sitting, we have side lying, we have prone, and we have supine. So depending on the environment dramatically changes the result. For example, doing a workout on a cushioned mat is going to dramatically change the proprioceptors in the feet, especially if you're doing this workout more with a shoe like a Vibram, like I'm wearing, and or if you're doing it barefoot. Okay, so sometimes what I like to look at, you can see this, my pre-workout. Sometimes what I like to do, honestly, guys, is I love to add in, and you're welcome to take a screenshot of this. I love to do a foot massage prior to my workout. Why? Because vestibularly, it helps to, create better proprioception in my feet. And with that being said, now added with my very specific warm-up that I'm going to show you today in the planes of motion, I have a better outcome. So if you are interested in our program, in less than 10 minutes a day, how to stay ageless, we offer this through the Functional Aging Institute. This is also my new book, co-authored by Melody Marlar and myself, and it truly is a modality of movement that decreases pain, decreases pain, decreases injury, and with that being said, shows you how to live an ageless life. So this is I'm Ageless Now. You can go to my website and check it out. And you're also welcome to contact me, Leslee, Leslee, at bendertraining.com, Leslee at bendertraining.com. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And in the meantime, we're going to get up and start moving, if that is all right with you. So this is a workshop versus a workout. And I'm going to show you these different movements that you can do combined with strength and full range of motion, depending on your ability or your client's ability, if that makes sense, so that you know where your success is going to be. And secondly, have fun. All right, here we go. So this is my home studio. Last year, we actually filmed in a beautiful Pilates studio. This year we are in my home studio, so bear with me here. All right, the equipment that we will be using in our program today is a chair for balance, if need be, a yoga mat that you can see on my left, a bender ball, small weights, and tubing, which is really awesome. All right. And also gliding discs and or weights. So I just want to give you an option of different small equipment, and what's really cool that you can do this type of training with your clients, for example, and all this equipment, for all intents and purposes, out the door is under $100. So, you're still going to have clients that have trepidation about coming into your fitness facility. Now, again, I've got on Vibrams, so I can feel through my feet. So if you wanted to, you could start with your tennis ball. And if you took my last session, which is recorded, by the way, you will see how to manipulate the foot. So I certainly invite you to do that if you want to watch that session. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and it's just easier for me to do this on the mat due to the fact that the ball rolls away. So let's go ahead and notice how you feel in your body right now. Make sure that you're well hydrated, okay? And before we begin, I like for my clients to have this intuition of how they feel in their body, because at the end of the day, this type of workout, you want to be able to have energy and enjoy it. The other thing that I'm going to cue you to do throughout the program is don't forget to breathe, all right? So again, as you're bringing in fresh oxygen and exhaling carbon dioxide and really providing nutrients for your cells to oxygenate, all the better. Because a lot of times people get very breathy when they're working out really hard, and reminding them to breathe will also dramatically change our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Let's take a nice deep breath up, y'all. Now, as you exhale out, go into a forward fold. And I want you to notice the difference between the right and left side of your body. All right, and then go ahead and roll it up. Now, we talk about in classes that cardiorespiratory training ultimately builds heat in our body. But what we don't talk about is the energy that we start to build into our body. You know, it's that energy body that is also crucial. So this is what I want you to do, is decide on the side that whichever one you want to begin with, and go ahead and rub your hands together. And just by rubbing your hands together, all right, this is where you say, all right, guys, we're going to have an amazing workout. We're going to build heat in your body. We're going to strengthen your body. So rub, 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 rub. And just by taking your hands apart, you feel that it's tingling. Am I right? Now, just take your hands and go up and down the leg of your choice. And you're going to feel heat from your hands on the side of your leg. Now, take that tennis ball underneath the foot of your choice, same leg. I know this sounds crazy, but start to rub. We are made out of energy. We can tap into universal energy anytime we want it. So think about taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And this is where I would recommend, obviously, you take your shoes off, right? But then I want you to compress down on the arch of the foot and hold it there for just a moment. And think to yourself, I'm strong now. I'm energetic now. And I'm ready for a great workout now. Rub again. And you can even rub your hands together. And again, you feel that energy. And listen, people start to lose their energy as they age, because they just do. All right, go ahead and step on off that ball. If you don't believe me, take a deep breath up, inhale, exhale, go to a forward fold and feel the difference. Now, take your hand on that calf, give it a tap. Tap the calf, tap the hamstring, tap the front, tap the calf, so that you start to get blood flow in here. Beautiful. Set that tennis ball to the side. All right, come on up. Now, here's the magic. Squat. Which side feels more energetic? It should be the side that you just did. So you should feel a resilience of energy coming up that side of your body. Let's do the other side. Again, rub your hands, rub, create that friction, create that heat, create that energy. All right. And here we go. Up and down the leg, creating energy in our tissue. Now, if you wanted to, you can take this and you can just imagine that you are creating energy throughout your whole entire surface, like even around your face. Listen, we are vibration, guys. Let's rub the other foot out. We are vibration. And it truly gets down to, how do you want to change your vibration? You want to raise it? Of course you do. So rub vigorously, okay? And then go ahead and compress down. If you take my other class, I talk a lot more about energetic restoration, which is really cool. And then go ahead and compress down, hold it there, take a deep breath in, deep breath out, step on off. This is brief, pat it out. At the back, basically we're waking up that fascia and say, come on, tap the front, tap the sides, pat yourself on the back and say, let's go. Yeah, I just threw that in as bonus. All right, my friends, here we go. Make sure your mat is to your side. And we are going to begin. We're going to begin with just a very functional movement that we do every single day as a squat. So as you reach out, as you come back in, find your range of motion of a squat. So maybe it's here, all right? Squat down and come back up. Now, if I wanted to add a little intensity to this, what I could do is grab some handheld weights. Or what I can do is just say, let's go ahead and reach down and come back up. So as you sit down and as you come back up, visualize that you are sitting in a low chair. This is my explanation of each and every exercise. How do you relate to it? All right, so now, as you sit down and as you come back up, let's start to add a knee lift. Let's start to work into balance here, all right? So if you want a toe tap, that's fine. But I want you to imagine that you're placing your foot on a big step, and you're gonna have to step up on this step in a moment. Let's do that one more time, and let's hold our right knee up. Now, feel like you're going to step up, so you've got to lift up and find balance on the left side. Now, take a step back with your right foot, with all 10 toes facing forward. Let's lengthen our calf so that we have awesome squats in the sagittal plane. Now, I want you to reach like you're going to grab something off of a shelf. Bend and extend that front knee. Reach, come back, lengthen. So your goal right now is to reach. Now we're going to start adding other reaches here to have a different chain reaction. I want you to reach over to the right. Now reach left. When you reach right and left, we're still working on the calf, but what's starting to happen to the rest of the body? Now reach below the knee. Reach below the knee. Start to add the hips in. Go to your range of motion that feels good. All right, now we're going to change it. All right, I want you to step out. Step back in. We're still lengthening that calf, by the way, because we're increasing dorsiflexion. By the way, you should start getting warm. Now, remember those reaches that we just did? Reach across. Reach across. Now reach below. Go below the knee, come back in, below the knee. This time we hold it right there. Now, let's go ahead and reach our hands to the ceiling. I want you to feel that hip start to lengthen, right? So as you bend that knee a little bit, you're going to feel a good lengthening. Now, give me a little side bend in the front of plank. Wow, all of a sudden, things are starting to open up. So as you give me a little bit of a side bend, we're working into that lateral hip. Last one, bring it back to center. Great job. Now, go ahead and do your squat, all right? And notice if the right side feels different than the left. It should. Now let's add a knee lift. Lower, lift. So as you lift and lower, sink back into your glutes. And now let's pause and hold it right there. Now imagine you're going to step up on a huge step so that you find balance here. Take a step back. Now remember, all 10 toes face forward, right? Because if I'm here and I externally rotate, I'm not going to get my calves to lengthen. Why do you think I want to lengthen my calves? Because a lot of people wear what? Or girls do, high heel shoes. But give me that reach forward, come back. Lengthen, good. Now if you remember, we start to add in different reaches in different planes of motion, different drivers. So reaching down and across, reaching up and across, right? And then down and across. And then guess what we did? If you remember, right, is we lunge back. So it's here. All right, lunge back and come in. So there's no wrong or right here, but you start to change the verticality of where you're reaching, guys. It changes things a lot. Now, we're going to hold that foot back there. Now, give me a big reach up to the ceiling, all right? Now, here's that side bend here. Big side bend to the side for 3 and 2 and 1. Good job. Now, okay, so we're going to stand in a parallel position, all right? What we're going to do is we're going to do a posterior lunge, and we're going to go through this reaching matrix. We are still warming up. All right, so let's imagine we're going to use a medicine ball here. All right, so we're going to alternate right to left. So you're going to step back with the right foot. Find your range of motion. All right, so we're putting something on a shelf here. Now, from here, I want you to take the ball below the knee. So now you're switching on the hamstrings and glutes. Keep looking up. Good job. Now reach over the head and feel your hip flexor lengthen. Why am I doing posterior versus an anterior lunge? It's obvious. Knees are happier. Now let's make the knees really happy and add rotation. Now, as you add rotation, look at the ball because that's going to challenge our balance, right? So you just challenge mine. Side and center, side, center, one more, last one, and come on in. We should be feeling warmer. Now, from here, what we're going to do is step out and step in. Step out and step in, okay? So we're going to do a lateral lunge, which is now our frontal plane. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. As you step out, we're still warming up. I really do need more space. All right, step out, reach forward. Now alternate, step out and forward. See, my knee loves frontal plane, doesn't love sagittal. Now, where did we go after reaching forward? Below the knee to switch on the glute. Below the knee, you want to do about 4 of each. You guys, you should be getting warmed up by now. So reach below the knee. I could do these all day long. Now, go overhead. Now you're going to start to really bend into that frontal plane. Good. And that big lengthening is crucial. Don't forget to breathe here. Now, if you remember, we went into rotation and center. Rotate and center. 2 more times. Rotate, center. 1 more. Rotate and center. Great job. Okay, so you should actually feel like your heart rates have come up a bit. Now, the next 30 seconds, we're going to place the ball in between our thighs, all right? Again, there's no jumping, but for the next 20 seconds, let's go into your squat and a good reach, all right? So if you want to jump though, and you got great knees, I say go for it. Me, I just can't. So I want to load to explode. But this is what I'm going to show you is by adding weights, all right, for 10 more seconds, my heart rate's going to start to go up. Am I doing strength and cardio training here? You bet. So literally you've got, keep going, you've got about 5 more seconds, and I'm still working where? Sagittal plane. By the way, are we working our inner thighs and core? The answer is yes. Okay. Now, here comes a bit of a recovery. Now, we sit here, we're going to send those arms back and lift against gravity and say hi to our triceps. All right, we're still working that sagittal plane. So knuckles to the ceiling, and from here, you need a break, come up out of it. Otherwise, stay with me because you've got about 10 more seconds here, working at a full range of motion. All right, and 3, 2, round 2, here we go. So now go right back up. So we're still in that sagittal plane. I'm going to take you out of it soon though. Lift. There we go. Now you've got about 10 more seconds here. I'm going to shorten it because it's a workshop. Again, adding the ball aligns the knees. I can do this much more efficiently utilizing the ball and or a TheraBand. What was after that? Go right into a good 20 seconds of tricep lifting. The beauty of this is, guys, you're not moving the music. You can use music as background though, for sure. All right, so 3, 2, 1, and down. Great job. Okay, we're gonna set the weights down, and now let's go into a round of gliding. Okay, so we're gonna grab our gliding disc. This is where we're gonna get a little breathless. Now, if they need a chair to hold on to, I'm gonna demonstrate that here. We're gonna go right into a skater. So essentially what we wanna do is as you come down and as you come up, is to find your range of motion. Now, again, if you're going into that gliding lunge, you want more intensity for the next 30 seconds, then I would recommend you reach below the knee. That's going to load up the hip a lot more. And your shoulders are going to love it because you're inviting your hips along. So here we go. 30 seconds, one side only, down and up. And you want to go at the speed that works for you. Now, I love this. Why? Because I can feel my heart rate coming up. I'm working hard here. And I don't have any knee pain. So keep going with this. You've got 5 more seconds. I'm going to shorten this because, again, what our goal is to give you ideas. All right, what's next? Let's say we did that for 30. Balance. Okay, this is where if you put me on a BOSU, I'd fall right off. So right here, we're going to work on balance. All right, so about the next, let's say 10 seconds, just lift and lower. Now this butt cheek right now, that outer thigh is getting fatigued and release. Here's the good news. Now that we go right into the other side, as you go into this lunge on this side, for let's cut it to 20 seconds. Again, a workshop. Don't forget to breathe, hinge forward. So you're loading up that glute, press down and lift. As you keep going and working into this, this is an easier lunge to do than a posterior lunge for people that have had knee replacements. It's less painful, especially when you start to reach across. You're going to actually see me go lower because I create more valgus or less valgus in my knee. All right, last one. What did we do after that? All right, find your balance, lift, and now we lift and lower, right? So the beauty of all this is right now, we just worked in all 3 planes of motion. Last one, and release. Great job. So we want to do that. Okay, so now we're going to go into both upper and lower body. We want to have our mat right near us. Now let's talk about our options. Somebody who has wrist and whatever issues, have them do a mountain climber on the wall. Have them do a push-up on a wall for 30 seconds, all right? Because not everyone is going to be able to get down and do plank to pike, all right? Now, if you've got those wrist issues, I invite you to come down to your forearms. Otherwise, up on those hands, if that feels good to you. So the next 30 seconds, you're here. Lift and extend. Exhale, lift and lower. You can always do this, again, down here. As long as your shoulders are happy, I say go for it. So as you lift and lower, use your core and breathe. Exhale, inhale, lift, lower. You've got 10 more seconds here. 9 and 8 and 7, getting breathless. 6, 5 and 4, 3, and we hold it and bring it in. Now don't come up too fast. You don't want that head rush, but rise. Okay, how are we doing, guys? So with that being said, my heart rate's up, I can feel it. But at the end of the day, now I want to add in strength. So here comes my strength. So we're going to take the band underneath our right foot, cross it. Now, from here, what I want you to do is just use this as a little bit of a recovery. Gentle step out, step in, or just stay stepped out and go for your deltoids here. But bring in the friends, let your hips move with you. So it's not just an upward row, shoulders don't like that. Bring in the front of the hip, step out and step in if you choose to. So as you start to work into those delts, this feels really good. And my heart rate's starting to come down because I just worked hard and I know well and good enough it's going to happen again. Now, here, go into biceps, but I want you to either step out or step in because we're adding in those friends of the hips. Let's do 5 more here. I usually do 8 to 12, but it's a workshop, so I'm doing less. 4 and 3 and 2. Let's bring it in. We switch sides. All right. So once again, that step out, step in. It's kind of a nice little release to what you just did. So breathe in and out. Invite your hips to play, not only the shoulders. Good. So from here, go into your biceps. We want to make sure that in every workout, we include, your entire body functionally. It's not isolation, it's integration. Last one, and in. Good. So right now, I feel like my heart rate has gone down. Okay. Now from here, let's get it back up again. How are we going to do that? Well, again, we've got gliding. Woo. And here we go. This is where a chair is very helpful. So For the next 30 seconds, you can grab your ball if you want, and like it shows in the PowerPoint, because I have the ball here. Now, what we're going to do, 30 seconds, is you're going to press up and down. All right, I like to hold on to the chair because of my knee, but I can feel my heart rate coming up. You're going to feel your glute a lot on the working side. So go up to the point that you don't lose the ball and keep going. And watch where the knee is. Keep going on this. And we hold for the last 5, 4, 3, 2, come in. 30 seconds. I don't know about you guys. I'm in Florida. I'm definitely sweating. All right, here we go. Other side. So once again, having this chair for my knee is kind of essential. Press and lift. I got to do it. I got to strengthen the quad. And if I don't hold on to the chair, my knee hurts, and then I'm not working like I should. Press down and lift. You've got about 10 more seconds here. Press and lift. Feel your glute and hamstring work. And then you hold the last 5, 4, 3, 2, come up. We're not bouncing, okay? You're using muscle, not momentum. Okay, so now we hold the ball. Okay. So our recovery here is just a really easy reach up. Imagine that it's a medicine ball, right? Easy. You're going to feel your heart rate start to drop a bit. But here we go. We're going to do another round here. So it's very important that I can't do a really good plie because of my knee, but I will give you a squat forward and lift. So if you are happier giving me this squat, ball goes down, ball goes up, and reach, lower. Let your butt go back or your glutes go back so that essentially you are feeling your hamstrings and glutes yet again. But we're going to change it. Reach. So we start to add in another plane of motion here. Now add a side kick, lift, lift, lift. Now again, you can always take it smaller, easier. Find your range of motion, and away we go, and bring it in. Good. So again, bringing in those friends is really important. Okay, so I want you to take your gliding disc out, okay? And it really helps actually if you can use 3 gliding discs, which work, okay? All right, don't worry, you're not putting your feet on them. But what we are going to do is we are going to set our ball down, and I want you to imagine they're like 3 different colors, or I want you to imagine it's a 1, 2, and a 3, all right? So if I were your trainer right now, I would be asking for you to reach to different numbers, like reach to number 2, reach to number 1, reach to number 3, and all of this is going to offset. Now, you can still reach to here, right? Even if I can't get down to the ground, it doesn't matter. You are going for the goal of reaching towards picking up something using what? Our hips and our shoulders and our thoracic spine. This is a little bit of a recovery, but somewhere in between. So now reach with the opposite arm. Oh, this changes everything. So when we start to reach with the opposite arm, all right, big difference. All right, let's switch sides. All right. Reach to number 2, okay? So if you don't have 3 discs, just imagine a 1, 2, and 3. Reach to 1, reach to 3, reach to 3, reach to 2, reach to 2, to 3, to 1, to 1 again. What are we doing? We're creating a conscious movement for a subconscious result. So when you reach down to pick something up, you're going to do what? Put it in a shelf. Now, let's talk about using a small band, all right? If you have a band like this gives you a great idea. Again, lots of small toys to use because one of the things that's really important is our outer glutes. All right, now, so from here, okay, so we've got our monster walks here, which definitely works the outer thighs. I hate it when I see and pulse and pulse and pulse. Oh my God, no, 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 no. You want to give me that good range of motion and give me a good kick. Kick to the side, out of reach to it. Why? You're inviting the shoulders now to come along. Remember, you're working your body as a whole. Because if I just go here to here to here, I'm going to fatigue like crazy and I'm going to be burning like hell there, right? And then when you ask me to do a big squat afterwards, I'm going to be too tight. So I want you to think of adding reaches up, reaches across, play with the idea of doing all kinds of stuff here, but abduct the leg to the side. Don't worry, you're going to start to feel those glutes. Big reach, lengthen. Keep going here. 5 more, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great job. All right, that gives you an idea of how to use a band. All right, just in case you want to sing in a band, right? All right, 2 gliding discs. We've got 1 more prone movement here, or paper plates work too, by the way. Let's go down. Again, you can do this standing on a wall if you need to, and do standing mountain climbers. So for the next, let's do 15 seconds, start to do. Now you can change it. Pull the knees in or straight on. I like to pull the knees to the side and breathe. All on impact, go to the point that you're like, okay, I can feel my heart rate coming back up. And if you have wrist pain, go down to those forearms. All right, and in. That was a little short of 15 seconds, I won't lie to you. Again, a workout. Okay, another position in our body. That's going to be a seated position. Remember, we can get our body in lots of different functional positions. Ball goes behind our back. There will be no crazy crunches here. However, we are going to use those gliding discs to fan ourselves. All right, so from here, my friends, you sit back, wedge a ball or a pillow behind the back to protect it always. Let's just start by reaching our arms out, leaning back, look up at the ceiling. What happened? The front of the body engaged. Now, from here, imagine you have weights. Look at the ceiling. Now, as your arms slowly come up, you're going to have your own personal earthquake. Now, lower, lift. Now, breathe. Now, you can stay here, but keep looking up. That's the secret. The secret is to look up. Now, invite some friends. Invite your thoracic spine and start to rotate. But keep looking up. Breathe out. Feel this in the front and the lateral part of your body. It's so much better than crunches. I hate crunches. Lift. Breathe. Rotate. Lengthen. 4. Lengthen. 3. You've got 2 more here. And 1. Now we're going to bring up your heart rates. Okay. So be wary here. Your heart rates are going to come up. But don't lose the integrity of the movement. Again, if you want to grab your weights, grab them. Here we go. Imagine 30 seconds. And breathe. Anytime you need a break, you hold on to the thighs. Okay? Otherwise, stay with me here. Reach. Come in. Hello, core. Keep going here. Feel the work. All right, let's do 5 more seconds. Keep gazing up. And now we pause and hold. Open and close those arms and say hi to your core. 5, and in. Keep looking up. 4, and 3, 2, and bring it in. Good job, guys. Now, where I wanted you to feel that is in the deep core muscles. 1 set, that's all we need. Now, we're going to do it on the side. All right, you don't need the weights for this one. All right, however, we do need the ball directly under our hip. We're going to place our hand on our gliding disc. I want you to lift up out of your rib cage. I repeat, up out of your rib cage. Now, you could use a weight here if you wanted, but I want this knee in front. Don't jam that hip back in the femur into the acetabulum, especially hip replacement people. You don't want to jam that hip back. So we're going to work here, that crazy pretzel thing they do. Not a good exercise for a hip replacement. However, this one, I want you to focus on a reach and a pull to get into your lats. Reach, pull. Oh my gosh, hello core. 3, and reach out. 2, and 1. Let's see what you got. Hold your head. reach your hand up, take your elbow away. Now see if you can't lift and lower. And find that range of motion. Maybe you just hang out here and you really focus on this side of the body, and guess what? Life is good. Lift and lower. 3 and 2 and 1. Grab that. Gliding disc can come up. Why is that so hard? Because we spend too much time on our backs trying to do our obliques. All right. So again, we reach out, come back in, feel the work. Again, if somebody has shoulder issues, then maybe it's a smaller range of motion here. You want to get this right under here, the serratus anterior. Reach out, come up. Then I'm going to show you some options. All right, so go out, come back up, lengthen in your frontal plane here. Big reach. And again, if you wanted to, you can use the weight for that person who feels like they have to add a weight. Then in all honesty, you don't. And bring it in, hold that head, lift your elbow, and now stay hello to your core. Lift and lower. 3, 2, and release. You might have felt one side was considerably harder than the other. All right, let's place that ball in between. Okay. All right, so bridging. What you can do is you can take a towel or tubing across. Matter of fact, I'll show you. This is a good one. You just, all right, you place your tubing, ball goes in between the thighs, and tubing goes over your thighs. All right, over and under. So we're here. So you anchor your palms down. I don't want you to squeeze your glutes, okay? Squeezing the glutes doesn't make them any stronger. So as you lift up, and you keep the band across your waistline, and as you extend those hips and come back down, think of engaging, take your attention to your inner thighs, because right here, as you press down into your tubing, you're going to get your glutes. All right, but the minute you squeeze them, you're going to feel it too much in the lumbar spine. Let's do one more. Okay, now hold it there. Now just release your hands and notice how different that feels. Think of lengthening through the front of the body. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and down. Bring your knees in, give them a nice big hug. You want to be in a neutral bridge for that. All right, let's do a little balance. Ball goes underneath the back, knees go to a tabletop. We are now going to balance on a bowl of Jell-O. All right, so right about now, this is where people are a little fatigued, so their vestibular system is compromised, and even something as simple as toe taps become a big challenge. Good news is you're on the floor, you're not going to get hurt. So it's not about kicking the legs high, it's about starting to be proprioceptively aware of, can you do something like this and keep very still within the center body, okay? And then of course, a nice hamstring stretch is going to be here. And if you already had that tubing, guess what? You can just gently pull that hamstring back, extend the opposite leg to get a hip flexor lengthening, all in one movement. Feels really good. And of course, if you're a Pilates person, as you know, you could easily add a leg circle in here if you wanted to. And then go ahead and gently pull this one back too. Whew, I'm sweating. And just hold it. So it's a nice stretch, lengthening through the hip flexor and back in. All right, go ahead and take the ball out. And I want you to rock and roll yourselves up. Okay. So let's talk about biomechanics. How are you guys feeling? So let's talk about the person that stands like this. Has a lot of kyphosis going on. You got to think about, what could I do that is going to, remember, you want that thoracic spine to be mobile. Matter of fact, stand up, and I want you to tuck your pelvis under. Now try to rotate. Where are you starting to feel it? Low back. So if you think about what we did, let's take a step back with our right foot. So we've created an anterior position of our hip. Do you agree? On the right side. Now let's try to rotate. You freed up the movement here of the spine. And what did we do is we did reaches. We reached below, we reached up, all of this. Now, by being in a hip extension, which is also in our notes, being in a hip extension is also going to help the person here. Why? because we're lengthening the hip flexor. So I want you to think about why I did certain reaches to shoulder height versus a reach below the knee. So if I'm doing this motion here, go ahead and do it with me, versus reaching down, there's a different chain reaction. Same thing, if I reach up and come in, all of this creates a different chain reaction on the entire body. So again, what does your client need? If I've got people that are coming in that are really flexed forward, maybe I'm not going to do a lot of this motion, but I sure as to heck am going to be doing a lot of this motion. Does that make sense? Because the more I start to get those hips more mobile, the more they're going to be able to do the intensity of an exercise much better, and with being able to get their heart rate up because they actually have more fluidity in their fascia. Now, I was going to show you utilizing a wall. Okay, so this is what, and I know Dan in his Functional Aging Institute has categories of individuals that are moving mildly versus an individual who going up the levels of fitness. Okay, so what you can do for the individual, for example, the individual who cannot do reaches, let's say down to the floor. So go with me here. You've got, and I'll show you, it works really well. So I've got my clicker here, okay? And what you can do is you can shine the dot on the wall, kind of like what you do with your cat. Let's get real. But it's not fast, okay? It's not hectic, but you have them reach towards it, reach towards it, reach towards it, reach towards it, reach, 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 reach. Now, if there is a concern about stability, I have the wall here. And I'm still reaching in different directions that has an influence on what, guys? Their hips, if that makes sense. I had a 80-year-old client, this little lady, and when she first came to me, she was in really bad shape. She couldn't move. And so by the end of, I'm going to say maybe, 3 weeks, this is what I did with her. I did all the wall stuff, right? And let me tell you, her balance got better and her ability to move, it improved like 100%. And the thing is she found a comfortable place to reach. You with me? Where there wasn't that fear of falling. Because that is a big one with the active aging. And I'm really talking more about the more deconditioned active aging. I want you to think about it. How successful, put your shoes in the shoes of a 70-year-old that's hardly done anything during COVID. And that makes it fun for them, and they get better without you having to, like maybe over cue and or, overly correct. Anyway, I truly hope you enjoyed your session with me today. Like I said, I'm soaking wet. But again, you can take these movements, increase the time, decrease the time, tweak it in or out, so that you have those bouts of 20 to 30 seconds, somewhere thereabouts, where you're working hard and then you pull them back. It's all good. All right. So if you need to get in contact with me, you've got my information. I want to thank you for joining me. Stay ageless, stay strong, stay amazing, and I will see you live in 2022.